Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to package your InDesign file, and you'll need this when you turn in your project, both in progress for the visual reviews as well as when you turn this in for the final project. I just created a few different examples of covers. These are terrible. I did these in like 5 seconds, so please do not judge my design skills, but I just wanted to make sure that I was able to make a somewhat of a representation of what you would be creating for your recipe book covers. So I have set my InDesign file up, and this instructions will be in the Project 3 statement as well. But as you can see, I have all three of my covers as spreads, back cover, front cover, in InDesign. It's just one file. It's not three separate files, and this really helps keep things organized. And then I've gone ahead and named my file Recipe Book Example. You, of course, will follow the naming guidelines on the project statement. So I have my file, I have my images, text, all that kind of stuff. And the reason that we have you package your InDesign files is that way I will then, it packages your fonts. It won't package your fonts if you're using Adobe fonts, which is fine because anyone who uses the Adobe Creative Suite will have access to those fonts. But the most important thing is it packages all of your images so that they stay linked, and it also will make a PDF automatically into that folder. So I'm going to go up to File, Package. That's all it really does. You'll get this little summary, links and images. Obviously my images are RGB color space. You definitely should make sure yours are CMYK. But this will kind of tell you if anything's wrong. This is technically called preflighting. You might, heard that. So I'm going to ignore this for now. You should not have any little triangles. And if you do, you need to go back and fix your files. I'm going to go ahead and hit package, and I'm going to call my folder just recipe book example folder, but you should call yours always, call your naming convention will be your name. So I would do Amy Copeland. Oops. And then I probably would do project 3. But in some cases it might be the visual review. Just, make sure that you name your folder something where you can find it easily, and then I can kind of remember. And then I'm just going to save mine to the desktop. I always save things to the desktop. That way it's easy to find. It's easier to upload to Blackboard. And it's copy fonts. You want to make sure this is checked. Again, if you use Adobe fonts, it'll just, anyone with the cloud will be able to open it up. But you also want to copy your linked graphics. If there's anything that you change that you didn't happen to update, it'll automatically update it here. You can include an IDML file. What this is this is really helpful if, say, you updated your InDesign, but I haven't updated my InDesign yet. I can open your file still. So it's good to kind of still have that as your failsafe. And then it says to include a PDF print. And I'm going to go ahead and always just do a high quality print here. You could do a smallest file size, which would be just something to be viewed on screen, which in this case, it's easy enough for me to do smallest file size as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and click package. And, don't worry about this warning. So I'm going to hit OK. And then what that does is that saves me. I'm going to go ahead and close this. My desktop is probably a mess. But what that does is that saves a folder on my desktop, which is right here. And this has your InDesign file, all the links. If you did use fonts that were in Adobe fonts, that would show up here. And then the recipe book example. One thing I want you to note, though, is with your recipe book example, if I open this in Acrobat, which is bouncing because it's opening right now. So if I open this in Acrobat, you'll see that the pages didn't save as spreads. And it's really important for, especially with your recipe book, with the recipe book covers, that I see this PDF as spreads. So even though it automatically saves a PDF, you're going to want to go ahead and go back into that file and save a PDF as spreads. So if I go to File, Export, I don't think there's any way to do it automatically within the packaging. So I'm going to go to Export, and I want a print PDF, and I'm going to go back to that Project 3 folder right here. and I'm going to hit save. I'm going to replace it, but then what's it's going to do, it's going to give me this export window. And this is the one thing that when you package an InDesign file, it doesn't give you. And then the most important thing is you want to do spreads. So when you do spreads, that shows me those 2 pages together. And it's just much easier to review your work that way. If you wanted to, you could add crop marks, bleed marks. If you want, you can do the bleed settings. And then I'm just going to hit export. And then that will automatically write over that PDF that you put into your folder. So it's right here. So then when I click twice on that PDF, now you can see your PDF is in spreads. It's easier for me to see what they look like front to back. So that's definitely the way I would want you to go about doing that. But that is how you package your InDesign files. So if you're ever asked by me or another instructor to package your InDesign file, that's what that means. And then the last thing you want to make sure that you do before you upload to Blackboard, you have to compress. And I'm sure you've probably learned this already. You just click on that folder. I'm going to hit Control click or right click, and then you're going to hit compress. And that zipped file is what you're going to want to upload to Blackboard. So that is it. Hopefully this makes sense, and let me know if you have any questions.